Hey, what's up everybody? It's your favorite software developer, Tyshawn, aka coldlabz on social media. So in this video, I want to get you guys right into it. The first thing we're going to learn about is variables, numbers, and strings. By the time you're done learning this, you're going to realize that some of the things that you learned in elementary school, middle school, and high school relates to programming. At this time, I'm not going to have you guys download any type of software, but we're going to get into that a little later. But to get started today, I'm going to need you to open up a browser and then go to a website called jsbin.com. So I'm going to do that myself. It's spelled jsbin.com. Once you get to this web page, you're going to notice that 4 of these things are highlighted in sky blue, but one of them isn't. You can actually use this web page to make your own website. I've used this myself, but we're going to use this web page for programming. In order to make this usable for programming, we're going to have to click off some of the unnecessary tabs. So the first tab I need you to click off is the HTML tab right here, and then go over, click on the CSS tab, and then click on the console tab. At this point, you should see only 3 things highlighted: the JavaScript, the console, and the output. The console area is going to tell you basically where you're having errors and stuff, but in this portion of the course, you're not going to need to focus on the console area. So what is a variable? If you want to go by the textbook definition, it says in software programming, variables are names used to hold one or more values. Instead of repeating these values in multiple places, you store it in one code. Long story short, variables hold data. That data could be a string or a number, sometimes arrays or functions, but we're going to get into that later. Right now, we're just going to focus on the basics of a variable. So let's go over to the area where it says JavaScript. We can type this 2 different ways. You can type variable, which is VAR, and then the actual letter you want to call, and then give it a value. So we can type VAR equals, and then 10. So now variable A equals 10. Another way of doing it is just simply writing A equals 10. So by doing this, 2 different things happen. So the very first thing that says VAR A equals 10, which is variable A equals 10, that is a local scope. Look at local scope how you look at your home. Only people that can access your home is people that has access to that actual home itself, or it has key to the actual house. A equals 10 below that is a global thing. That A equals 10, you can look at that as if you were at a park. Everybody in the world can access that park if they can reach it. So if you want to localize one thing to a certain scope, you use variable A equals 10. But if you want to be global, use A equals 10. So to help you guys out, I'm going to show you guys how to write a comment real quick. You might want to remember this somewhere down the line, might repeat it down the line. But right now, to write a single line comment, you just write // and then something after that. So in this case, we're going to say on the first line, let's just put global, and then for the second comment, let's put local, and leave it at that. The spot where you see the box where it says console, go over there and type the letter A and see what pops up. You notice now A is equal to 10, but what will happen if we actually change A and make it equal to something else? So let's go back over to the spot where it says JavaScript. Let's put A equals 22. And now let's go back to the console and let's type A. And before you hit enter, let's take a guess. What do you think it's going to say? Do you think it's going to say 10, or do you think it's going to say 22? If you said 22, as you see, you were correct. The thing is, JavaScript reads line by line. So the last thing you put there for that variable, or the last thing written, is going to be how it's going to be read. So at this point, I'm just showing you how a variable can be a number. But now we actually can make more than one variable and add those variables together. So let's try that out. On the next line, let's do GT, you know, like Gran Turismo equals 3. So now GT equals 3. So if you go over to the console and you type A plus GT, you should get 25. Try it out. A variable has to start with a letter, but it can't end with a number. So if we wanted to do a variable like Peter, P-E-T-E-R 0 equals 4, it will work. But if you do like 0 dog or something, you notice you got an error now. And the reason behind that because a variable can't start with a number, but it can start with a letter and end with a number. So now let's delete this 0 $, equals 37. Now that we got that off the screen, let's talk about strings. A string can hold numbers, data, or any type of thing. It doesn't have to be just, you know, numbers or words. It could be a whole bunch of different letters and symbols. So let's make a string real quick. Let's say red equals gold, G-O-L-D. It doesn't have to be this. This is what I want to call it. So now red equals gold. So what if you wanted to add red plus A, you know, gold plus 22? Is that possible? Yes and no. So what happens when you try to actually combine a string with a number is that it becomes one thing. So let's try that out. I'm going to type red plus A and let's see what happens. So red plus A, now I got gold 22. I'm not sure exactly what you guys got, but this is what I got because that's what I put. And this is as simple as writing variables work. So let's wrap this up. We learned about how global scope and local scope variables work. We also learned that variables could be numbers or strings. Hope you guys are ready to learn something bigger in the next video. See you around.